Hey, the smart Curtis here. Ha ha ha. Did you figure out where this mural is? Well, if you don't know, let me tell you. It's at the Safeway down in the Marina District. Check it out. Beautiful mural. On today's show, Curtis has some more of that interview with Chef Kitty. Then he's going to take you home to his kitchen and make tomato Kool-Aid. There might be some more tricks along the way, too.
Welcome back to my kitchen. Got a new gadget today I'm trying out. Well, I've had it a while. I'm just really beginning to work with it. It's the DJI camera. And I get to control everything with my iPhone, which is pretty cool. Normally, I do all my taping with the iPhone. So this is a pretty neat little toy. I get to control my shots and all that. Anyway, we're going to continue with Tomato Love today, as well as some more of the interview from Chef Kitty down from Florida. And she's going to make for us a meringue, chocolate meringues. Stick around.
Hi Curtis, Chef Kitty here again. The bonus dessert you get when you make creme brulee are chocolate meringues, because you're going to have those egg whites left over. You might as well make something yummy with them. So what we're going to do, we have our 6 egg whites ready to go into our bowl. And we're going to start beating them for a minute so you'll lose my voice, and then we're going to add the sugar. When it starts to bubble up, we're going to slowly add our sugar in, extra fine if you have it, but really regular sugar will also do. Just a little at a time. You don't want to overwhelm the eggs. When you put sugar into egg whites, it starts to get really shiny and silky looking. It's my favorite part. You hear the mixer slowing down because the mixer is getting thicker and thicker. We're going to add our vanilla. This is a teaspoon, a half a teaspoon for 3 egg yolks, so we have 6. We're adding a whole teaspoon. Same with the cream of tartar. You're going to use an 1/8 if you have 3, and we're using 1/4. Come on now. There we go. And we're just going to beat this until it becomes really stiff and silky and shiny. So we're not quite to a stiff peak. Almost there. Notice our vintage mixer. I think it belonged to my great-grandmother. I'm in my sister's kitchen, so, you know, could have come from anywhere. We're just about there, a little bit more. going to add in our cocoa. And we have a tablespoon of cocoa, a half a cup. We've got 1 tablespoon for 3 egg whites, so we're blending in 2 tablespoons now. There we are. Now we're just going to blend in our chocolate chips. Stir them around a little. And we'll take 2 small tablespoons, teaspoons, and drop them onto our parchment. Cleanup time. There's the magic button. Drain the mixer apart. And our pans are ready. Whoops. I'm killing your mixer, sorry. All right, stand back up. There we are. Now we're just going to add these in little drops, just like about a tablespoonful. And we'll swirl it around a little. I'm going to put this on this side so you can see what I'm doing. And just swirl it. Try to make it a little pretty. And we'll take a little break while I put these on the pan, and we'll be right back. Well, Curtis, thank you so much for the opportunity for me to show you my sweet side of the kitchen. Tonight's meringues. Forget the name of them. Tonight's meringues and our creme brulee and our tiramisu. My friend, here's to you.
On last week's episode, Chef Kitty said she had a picture of us hugging back in the 1990s at a food show down in Jacksonville. She found that photograph. Take a look. I was a whopper.
Filming. They did a lot of the interior shots somewhere else.
Yeah, I actually love that movie. So now your son Egan had problem with his heart.
He did. He had to have open heart surgery. He had atrial atrial septal defect. And then when you have too much blood flow, the body will make its own veins to help clear it away. That's called sinus venosus. And we expected a 9-hour surgery. In 4.5 hours, the doctor came and got me.
Wow. So this young man got right.
He did.
He got well. He took a trip to where?
Nepal.
What?
Yes.
Like where they had the Sherpas and all that stuff.
He trekked the Himalayas.
And then they climb. That's where that big mountain is over there too.
Yes.
He didn't climb that. Did
No.
He? Oh, thank
He
goodness.
just trekked a path with a Sherpa guide and his best friend. FaceTimed me from Kathmandu and said, "Mom, I had an epiphany."
We're going to Kathmandu.
I said, "Okay, good." I'm wondering what it's going to be. And I said, "So what's your epiphany?" And he said, "Well, it involves you going back to work. But we'll talk about it when I get home. Love you, Mom. Bye."
Love you, bye. Just like that's what kids do to mamas, right?
That's it.
So there was another career change coming?
Yes. What he wanted to do was take the personal chef idea and turn it into meals prepared for you, not in your home, but in a commercial kitchen and then delivered. Now there
This
are
is in 19 or...
This was 2013.
Wow, okay.
When he had the idea, and 2014 when we put our kitchen in. Start cooking right away.
And by the way, folks, I'm going to get pictures from Kitty of the kitchen. I'm also going to solicit a recipe from Kitty that I'll prepare for you because this man didn't block out enough time to hang out today. So I won't have Kitty cook this time. However, when we go to Florida,
Yes.
we'll be in your kitchen. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Unless Santa will let us come back and cook in her kitchen.
I have no problem doing that either.
All right. So you started this takeout, this delivery.
Well, meal delivery service.
Okay.
A prepared meal delivery service with everything heart healthy, diabetic friendly, and gluten free.
I love it.
Any food allergies we prepped and cooked separately.
Mm-hmm.
And our very first week, we opened on a Tuesday, and on we opened on a Monday, and on Tuesday morning, right around 9 o'clock, we got a phone call from the University of Florida Sports Nutrition asking us if we could cook for their football team on Friday. 150 people involved in the football program.
So you cooked for the Gators.
We cooked for 8 university athletic teams.
I love it.
Yeah.
Although I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan.
And I'm a Florida State Seminole.
Ooh, good for us.
But I stayed professional, and I didn't put any sleepy drops in their meals.
I have to share a story now that you mentioned that. So Bobby Bowden, we lost Bobby Bowden about a week or so
recently.
ago, and it hurt because, again, chicken skins, right? So I used to do this show in the Tampa Bay area. I think it was WCG TV or something like that down in Thomasville, Georgia, which was the CBS affiliate for Tallahassee and that area. And Bobby Bowden used to come do his TV show there.
Yes.
So I'm on one. I got to tell you, I've had all these wonderful streaks in my life. So Bobby Bowden's on the show one day, right? And it was just he came up to do a show with Anna Johnson, and he told the story about luck and bad luck and his wonderful wife. And he says, to her, I forget her name, but Anne. Anne. He says, Anne. He wake up. He says, Anne, you with me when I lost the national championship. When I had a heart attack. He says, I think you bad luck. I just died when he told that story, right? He was so funny, but it was just such a cool dude. So props to Bobby Bowden. I wasn't a Gator. I wasn't a Florida State fan, Seminole fan, but I'm truly a Bobby Bowden fan.
I didn't have a lot of choice. Our mother, mine and Sandlin's mom, was vice president of student affairs at FSU.
Had to be there.
Oh, and I had to behave when I went to school.
So this is interesting. We meet on an airplane. We hang out in Florida at a food show. Now I'm in your sister's house. Life is. You feel that
talking about food.
Amen.
Which is what brought us together in the first place. That one little Bloody Mary.
Yeah. That one little Bloody Mary. All right, okay. So your son spills a drink on my lap.
Yes.
And as a dad, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Because I'll never forget a couple of things when it comes to being a parent. And this is what I'd love to share with young parents. And maybe you agree, Kitty. It's like my friend Mary Ayuk. She's in San Diego. And her husband, Eddie, was one of the original, sports medicine guys. He became a world-class trainer, right? He went to school at Emory, did all these things, right? So Mary, one night we're at dinner, and her baby Nicole, who now is a grown woman working in New York, and this is that whole thing, how this idea of when kids do things, we can't freak out.
Right.
Mary's wearing this, I think it was a Versace top, and the baby threw up on it. And I'm like this. She goes, if I didn't want to throw up on it, I shouldn't have worn it.
Right.
I'm like, that's so cool, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking that's how I want to be if a kid does something to me. Like, okay, kids don't know. Grown-ups, and that's one thing for me to throw a drink on you, but a kid, something different, right?
Absolutely.
Years later, I'm on a flight with Curtis Jr., and he's a little guy. The flight attendant kept asking me to move, and I'm like, well, this is the seat I like. My son's comfortable here, right? And lo and behold, Sidney Poitier comes on.
Oh my gosh.
And he's in the seat next to me. I'm thinking, okay, she wanted to get the baby away from Sidney Poitier. Mr. Poitier says, don't worry. Like I did with Egan, he picks up Curtis Jr. when I had to go to the bathroom.
I love it.
So if Sidney Poitier can do that for me, why can't I do that for someone else?
Exactly.
Right? So that's
where we are.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
Right? And I hope people hearing these stories that you and I are sharing about overcoming tough times or easy times, whether it's a Bloody Mary being spilt on your lap,
Right.
that ain't a hole in the heart.
Exactly.
Right? A Bloody Mary on your lap.
Those summer tomatoes are coming in ripe and ready. Don't throw them away. Make tomato coulis. Also, if you want to know how to peel and seed tomatoes, check out my website, curtisaikens.net, or the YouTube channel. I demo both. Peace, spread love. Tomato coulis next.
Tomato love. Again, thank to my neighbor, Carolina Tomacheski, for the beautiful tomatoes she provided. Also on today's show, a little bit more of the interview with Chef Kitty from down in Florida. And I'm going to make today, with those gorgeous tomatoes, tomato coulis. It's a fancy French word, but what it means is sauce, right? So let me show you the ingredients. Oh, before we go there, let me show you, I've got a new toy. I'm recording today on my DJI camera. I love the thing. I control all my shots with the iPhone. So we're going to scan down to our ingredients, or as the kids would say back in the day, our ingredients. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. I can do this. Ow, 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 ow. We're getting there. Okay. Now, the ingredients for our tomato coulis. Again, it's just a nice sauce. We've got some olive oil right here. I've got fresh basil, red wine. Now we're going to use this cashmere. Remember the rule, if it's not good enough to drink, why the heck would you cook with it, right? I've got some vegetable stock, of course, salt and pepper. We're gonna mince an onion, also gonna mince garlic. Now, the reason I haven't mentioned the two tomatoes yet is because there's two types we're gonna use. Well, we're gonna use two types, a red and an orange tomato. However, the recipe calls for tomato puree, and I'm gonna show you examples of how we get those. This is tomato puree. And this is a tomato, I hope I said this word right. It's another one of those French words, concasse. Did I say it right, baby? Concasse. I don't know. You don't know? She's the smart one in the family. What it really just means is chopped. And the best example to see a concasse tomato is when you're looking at bruschetta, the bruschetta, you know? Although it's a French word, the Italians do it best. I'm gonna mince some garlic. I've got some fresh thyme here. You know, out of all the herbs in my garden, the thyme just didn't seem to do the best. I've got enough though for the recipe. What am I missing here? We're gonna mince the garlic, I mentioned that. And I got a bay leaf hiding around somewhere over the rainbow. Well, I gotta round up my bay leaf, and then we will come back to the kitchen or get over the stove top as I bring this shot back up to my face. What do you think? You like that? Like the way I do that? Oh yeah, peace, spread love.
Okay, let's go to that super speed and chop our onions. Again, we want to mince, so we're going to get a nice tight dice here. That's what I like to call it. And then we're going to move on to our garlic. And oh yes, I did find my bay leaf and put in there. Let's mince the garlic. And if there's any blemishes in that garlic, just go ahead and take your paring knife and cut those out. Then mince that garlic well. All right, let's go cook.
Yeah, oil is nice and hot. Welcome back to the kitchen. We're going to start by sauteing our onions. Got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there. And we want to cook these until they become translucent. 3 to 5 minutes, longer if need be. But with the oil nice and hot like that, it should not take long. So just take your time. I just like to really move that around the pan. We're creating the base for that coulis. Tomato coulis. Remember, it's just a fancy word for sauce, right? That's gorgeous, huh? We want to bring that flavor out. Don't be in any rush. Don't rush it. Like a bit of a onion skin there. Look at that. So you can see how easily it is to remove things like that. Just slide it up the side of the pan. When that aroma starts to waft out, you can kind of see there. Look at they're starting to become clear. Going to add our garlic, and only going to cook it for maybe a minute and a half or so with the garlic. Now, this is why I have the scrapers. I've got a wooden spoon, a spatula, and a little scraper, so I can get all that out, all of that garlic out of that. And the same when I come to the tomato puree, as well as the cancase, the tomato cancase. Hope I'm saying that correctly. 1001, 1002. Oh, that smells so good. Oh, I'm gonna add the tomato puree next. There's a tomato puree. And there are some seeds in there, so you can run it through a strainer if you really want, if you want to, or a food mill. Take my scraper. I want to get all of that puree out. Waste not, want not, right? That's beautiful. I'll get that gorgeous cashmere, that red wine from Klein. It's a totally organic wine. It is such a smooth red wine. The reason I'm doing this recipe is I got a nice little email. Someone asked me about coulis and what it is and would I make one. So I said, no problem. You can make coulis with fruit or vegetables. Like a lot of times in desserts, they'll say with a raspberry coulis that is just a kind of a sauce drizzled over the plate to make it look good. You know, just a sauce, y'all. Don't trip. Oh, look at that. It smells so good. I'm going to add my herbs in next. My bay leaf, along with my thyme. I'm just going to kind of take this off and just crush it up in my hands as I add it to the pot. Just crush it up nicely there. And you don't want to, if you can avoid putting the little stems in there, do that, because you don't want anyone to catch that while they're eating it. So there we go. Again, after it's done, if you want, you can run it through a strainer or a food mill. Get all that thyme in there. Wow, this smells so good. I'm going to break my basil leaves. I'm not going to just break them off the stem and crush them a little if you want. You could chop them if you like. But a lot of recipes, a lot of times chefs will make a bouquet garni, and it's just tying the herbs up in a piece of cheesecloth or something, so you can just take the whole thing out and just have the essence. Gonna lower this ever so slightly. Let's add our vegetable broth. And yes, you could use chicken broth if you like. Notice I'm just kind of stirring that in. Get all that broth in there. I'm gonna bring this back to a boil. The last thing we're going to add, the tomato cascade, right? Just remember, rough chopped tomatoes. Let this come back to a boil. Remember, when you put things in the pot, you have to allow it to, because it drops the temperature. You've got to let the temperature come back up. not going to plop it in there because I don't want any splashback to burn. There we go. All those tomatoes in. What we'll do is bring it to a boil. We're going to lower it and simmer it for about 45 minutes. So the Apple Watch says 4:26. By the time it comes to a boil, it should be like 4:30. So we'll check it at 5 o'clock, and then we should have it ready by 5:15. Can you see where it's reduced there? From here down to here. Let's give it a first test for taste. That's what we're going to stir it up with. And you can see those beautiful, but we just pull those bay leaves and things out. That looks good. Oh yeah. You can adjust your seasoning at this point. However, I don't think it needs any salt, pepper. It's just bonito right there. So we're going to take and just run it through a strainer, and then our coulis is ready to roll. You see, I transferred the tomato coulis to a smaller pot so that I could just a little easier handling it. And I'm just going to strain it. I'm going to pour it through this strainer here. Of course, you could use your food processor, grinder, food mill. My food mill is packed away someplace, so I'm just going to strain this. And I've got a little, whoop, I spilled some there. Lisa's going to be mad at me, messy Curtis in the kitchen. Just take your time, strain it out. Press all that through. All right, we've got that tomato coulis. Got that tomato coulis ready to go. Nice little. The taste is bueno. I'm going to use this in making soups and stews. I can thicken it up and drizzle and paint the plates. So much we can do. Let's have fun in the kitchen. Peace. Spread love.